Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1. From the far horizons of the unknown time and space, these are the stories of the future. Adventures in which you'll live on 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 would-be worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in association with Street and Smith Booksellers, presents X minus 1. Tonight's story, The Veldt, by Ray Bradbury. This is the office of Dr. David McLean, resident psychiatrist at the New Chicago Institute of Human Engineering.
All right, Miss Carver, will you take this, please? To Charles S. Howard, senior psychologist, New Chicago Institute of Human Engineering. The following constitutes my report on the case of George and Lydia Abbott, which we discussed by telephone. Subject George relates onsets of symptoms to the purchase of a $60,000 soundproofed Happy Life home, trademarked, under narcosynthesis. During initial interviews, subject described the experience in the following manner. Miss Carver, please play the recording of the initial interview.
We'd always wanted one, and then we could afford it, so...
Go ahead, Mr. Abbott. Tell me about the home.
It's supposed to do everything, the agent told us. And it did. It clothed us, it fed us, it rocked us to sleep. Played and sang, and it was good to us.
Tell me about the nursery.
The nursery. It was completely automatic. There were crystalline walls that wavered from 2 to 3 dimensions, pseudo-textured floors that shifted from dirt to brick to waving grass. The nursery was the best, but then we wanted the best for the children.
Yes. Tell me about the children.
Doctor, I must be crazy. We have no children.
But what about Peter and Wendy?
We have no children, Doctor. We have no children.
All right, Miss Calvin, do continue. After 3 sessions, the subject was able to recall and accept the idea that he had 2 children. He described the first day.
All right, Peter and Wendy, this is your nursery.
What's so special about a nursery, Dad?
Plenty. Just go in and see.
Do we have to?
You'll be surprised.
Gee,
I'm scared.
I'm not. It's nice in here.
It is?
Boy, look at the pictures on the walls. They're real.
Well, they're almost real. You can change them any way you like just by thinking.
Go on in, dear.
Well, all right, Mommy.
Wendy, look what I can do with the pictures.
I see the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
I just thought of it, and there it was.
Let me try, Peter, let me try.
Here, just go ahead. Just think.
I want to see Wizard and Oz.
Well, dear, there we are.
Oh, they like it.
Why shouldn't they? All they have to do is think. And they've got whatever they want in 3 dimensions, color, sound, and smell.
It's nice that we can give them all these advantages.
Sure, what else are we working for, huh? Well, what do you want to do this evening?
The Johanssons invited us to play bridge.
We don't have to worry about the kids. They'll be all right in the nursery. Come on, Lydia, we deserve a night out.
And so, in the nursery, the walls were a kaleidoscope of time and space in imagination. The green forest of Sherwood and the quiet forms of Robin and his merry men gave way to the roll of salt in the air as Sir Henry Morgan sailed into the harbor at Jamaica, and behind the crystalline quartz walls, the vacuum tubes and grids and banks of metal image tape spun quietly and efficiently, erasing the line between illusion and reality. Of course, the electric bill from Consolidated Utilities was tremendous, but it was worth it. The Happy Life home continued with gentle automaticity, as guaranteed in the brochure and bill of sale.
George, I wish you'd look at the nursery. I would like you to take a look at the nursery, George.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know.
I was in the nursery last week. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's different now.
What do you mean different?
I want you to come and see.
Are the kids there?
No, Maj Allen took them to a show along with her kids. That's why I want you to look at it now before they get back.
Oh, all right. What do you expect me to do? I don't know how to fix it. I'm no mechanic.
This isn't a question of a leaky faucet, George.
All right, dear. I'm coming.
The nursery lights flickered on as they came down the hall. The relays clicked and wired. The tubes warmed and the chemical odor banks bubbled into life as they paused before the closed door.
Go ahead, George. Open it.
On all sides, in 3 dimensions, stretched the hot, tired landscapes of an African veldt, reproduced down to the smallest detail of stick pebble and piece of straw. The ceilings above them became a sky with a hot yellow sun. A musky wind blew in from the baked veldt land. The hot straw smell of lion grass and the cool green smell of a watering hole in the distance. The great rusty smell of animals wafted, and the howl of a jackal in the distance. And there were the vultures that wheeled under the yellow burning sun.
Let's get out of the sun. It's a little too real.
Oh, George, you promised you'd look around.
I don't see anything the matter.
Wait a minute. There are the vultures.
Filthy creatures.
There, you see? There are the lions, far over that way. Now, they're on their way to the water hole. They've just been eating.
A zebra or a baby giraffe, maybe.
Can you see it? Are you sure?
It's a little late to be sure. Nothing over there I can see but clean bone. And the vulture's dropping for what's left.
Did you hear that scream?
What scream?
About a minute ago.
Sorry, no.
Oh, here comes the lions. George, they're frightening.
Take it easy, Lydia. They're only an illusion.
The lions were now only 15 feet away. So startlingly real, you could feel the prickling fur on your hand, and your mouth was stuffed with the dusty upholstery smell of their heated pelts. The yellow of them was in your eyes like the yellows of an exquisite tapestry. The yellows of lions in summer grass and the sound of the matted lion lungs, exhaling on the silent noon tide, and the smell of blood from their panting, wet mouths.
George, I'm afraid they're so real. Watch out. Ah, George!
Out, quick, outside!
They almost got us. I could feel their breath. I'm afraid.
Get a hold of yourself. Walls, Lydia, remember, crystal walls. That's all they are.
They look so real.
Well, they look real, I must admit, but it's all dimensional. Super reactionary, super sensitive color film, mental tape film behind glass screens. It's all odorphonics and sonics. Now here's my handkerchief.
Did you see? Did you feel? It's too real.
Now, Lydia.
You've got to tell Wendy and Peter not to read any more on Africa.
Of course, dear.
Promise?
Sure.
And lock the nursery for a few days until I get my nerves settled.
You know how difficult Peter is about that. When I punished him a month ago by locking the nursery for even a few hours, the tantrum he threw, and Wendy too, they live for the nursery.
It's got to be locked. That's all there is to it.
You've been working too hard. You need a rest. Have a seat in this automatic massager chair.
I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough to do. Maybe I have time to think too much. All I do is set the dials at the beginning of the week.
Well, that's the whole idea. The house is automatic.
I know, but why don't we shut the whole house off for a few days and take a vacation?
You mean you want to fry my eggs for me?
Yes, and sweep the house.
But I thought that's why we bought this house, so we wouldn't have to do anything.
That's just it. I don't feel like I belong here. The house is wife and mother now and nursemaid. Can I compete with an African veldt? Can I give a bath and scrub the children as efficiently or quickly as the automatic scrub bath can? I cannot. And it isn't just me, it's you. You've been awfully nervous lately.
I suppose I have been smoking more.
You look as if you didn't know what to do with yourself in this house either. You smoke a little more every morning and drink a little more every afternoon. You're beginning to feel unnecessary too.
Am I?
George, those lions can't get out of there, can they?
Of course not. Now don't think about it anymore.
They ate alone. George watched the automatic cooking machines prepare him a meal.
You forgot the ketchup. That's better.
It wouldn't hurt to lock the children out of the nursery for a while. It's clear they had been spending too much time in Africa. He could still feel the sun on the back of his neck like a hot paw, the lions and the smell of blood. Remarkable how the nursery caught the telepathic emanations from the children's minds and created a life to fulfill their desires. The children thought zebras, and there were zebras. Sun, and there was sun. Giraffes, giraffes. Death, and death. They were so young, but long before you knew what death was, you were wishing it on someone else. The children came home dutifully at 8:30.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Pop.
Hello, darlings. I've missed you. Do you want something to eat, dear? We are just having dessert.
We are full of strawberry ice cream.
And hot dogs.
We'll just sit and watch.
Sure.
Peter, tell us about the nursery.
I don't understand.
Well, the reason I bring it up is your mother and I, well, we think you've been spending too much time in Africa.
There's no Africa in the nursery.
Oh, come now, Peter. We know better.
I don't remember any Africa. Do you win? Go run and see.
Sure, I'll be right back.
Oh, she'll be right back, Pop.
She doesn't have to. I've seen it. Come on.
Sure, Pop, but Wendy will tell us.
See, Daddy, it's not Africa. It's Florida, like in Bambi.
Go to bed.
But it isn't 9 o'clock.
You heard me. Go to bed.
Okay.
Good night, Mom. Good night, Pop.
Good night.
Good night, dear. I'll be right up to tuck you in.
Wait a minute, Lydia. Look at this.
What is it?
Isn't this the corner where the lions were? An old wallet of mine. There's the smell of grass and the smell of a lion. It's wet with saliva. It's been chewed.
George? It smells like blood.
Come on out. Let's lock the nursery up and go to bed.
But in the middle of the night, he was still awake, and he knew his wife was also awake.
George, how did your wallet get in the nursery?
I don't know. Wendy must have changed the walls from the Veldt to Florida right before we got in, but it couldn't change a real object they left inside. I'm going to keep it locked. They're spoiled and we're spoiled. I think I'll have Dr. McLean come over and take a look at Africa.
It isn't Africa now. It's Florida and Bambi.
I have a feeling it will be Africa again soon.
Although their automatic somna beds tried very hard, the two adults could not be rocked to sleep for hours. A smell of cats was in the night air, and in the morning the automatic stove cooked French toast, and the robotic arms reached out of the dining room table, poured the syrup, and melted butter.
Pop, you aren't going to lock up the nursery for good, are you?
That all depends.
On what?
On you and your sister.
You intersperse this Africa with a little variety? Oh, Sweden perhaps, or Denmark, or China.
I think we ought to be free to play as we wish.
Matter of fact, we're thinking of turning the whole house off for about a month.
That sounds dreadful. Would I have to tie my own shoes instead of letting the shoe tire do it? And brush my own teeth and comb my own hair and give myself a bath?
It would be fun for a change, don't you think?
No, it would be horrid. I don't want to do anything but look and listen and smell. What else is there to do?
All right, go play in Africa.
Will you shut off the house sometime soon?
We're considering it.
I don't think you'd better consider any more, Father.
I won't have any threats from my son.
Come on, Wendy. Let's go back.
After breakfast, Dr. David McLean arrived.
I saw the nursery last year. It seemed all right to me.
You didn't notice anything unusual?
All children feel persecuted by their parents. That's perfectly normal.
They entered without knocking and sent the children out. The lions were feeding quietly under the trees.
I wish I could see what they're eating.
How long has this been going on?
It's been almost nothing but Africa for a little over a month.
Certainly doesn't feel good.
I don't want feelings. I want facts.
George! A psychologist never saw a fact in his life. He knows about feelings, and this doesn't feel good. Now, my advice for you is to have this room torn out and bring your children to me once a week for treatment.
Is it that bad?
I'm afraid so. You know, that's why the nursery was developed initially, to examine the patterns left on the wall by a child's mind.
But what is it? What's wrong with Peter and Wendy?
It's hard to say.
I haven't punished them too much. What? I took away a few gadgets. Last week I locked the nursery for a night to show them I meant business.
You've let this room replace you and your wife in your children's affections. This room feels more like a mother and father to them than you do. And now you're threatening to take it away from them? Why, you can feel the hatred coming out of that sky, rising up like steam from the watering hole. George, I think you should turn everything off. The nursery, the kitchen, the whole house, and start now.
But won't this shock be too much for the children?
I don't want them going any deeper. Now let's get out of here. I've never liked these rooms. They make me nervous.
Those lions just seem so real. I don't suppose there's any way
What?
they could become real?
Not that I know of, anyway.
Some flaw in the machinery, a result of tampering? I don't imagine the room will like being shut down.
Nothing ever does like to die, even a room.
I wonder if it will hate us for turning it off.
Paranoia is thick today. Is this your scarf? It's soaked in blood.
That's Lydia's. Come on, the main fuse box is out here.
Go ahead and pull the switch.
There. It's off.
The two children were in hysterics. They screamed and kicked and threw things. They yelled and sobbed and swore and jumped on the furniture.
Children!
The children flung themselves onto the couch weeping. He marched around the house flipping switches and pulling fuses. The shoe shiners, the shoelacers, the body scrubbers and swabbers and massagers, and every other machine he could put his hand to. The house was full of dead bodies, it seemed. It felt like a mechanical cemetery. So silent. None of the humming hidden energy of machines waiting to function at the tap of a button.
It's off. And it stays off. The whole damn house dies as of here and now. The more I see of the mess we put ourselves in, the more it sickens me.
Mother, don't let him do it. I hate you.
Insults won't get you anywhere.
Children, just look at how you're behaving. This isn't real. It's only light and sound. It's not worth getting so worked up over.
Just one more visit to the nursery just to say goodbye.
Just one more minute, Daddy. Just one more minute.
George, it can't hurt, really.
All right. Shut up. 1 minute and that's the end. Forever. 1 minute and then we are out of here.
Very well, children. Just once more to say goodbye.
Oh boy. Come on, Wendy. Thanks, Pop.
Just 1 minute, remember? Lydia, where are our suitcases?
Don't be cross with me.
Did you leave them alone in the nursery?
Well, I had to get ready, didn't I?
Pop, come here.
Daddy, Mommy.
Come on, quick!
Peter? Wendy, what's the matter?
Hurry up, open the nursery!
Why, they aren't anywhere.
Wendy! Peter!
Why, where are they?
The door. It's locked from the outside. Peter!
Wendy? Peter, open the door, dear. Let us out. George? The lions.
Peter, do you hear me? Open this door!
Wendy, please open the door.
Son, let us out!
George, the lions, they're coming. They're all around us, George.
Son!
Peter!
Son, let us out!
Open the door, it's Mommy! Peter, please! Peter!
Help!
When Dr. McLean arrived, he went straight into the nursery, as no one had answered when he rang the bell. He found the two children in the glade eating a picnic lunch. Beyond them was the watering hole in the yellow Veldt lamp. Above him was the hot sun, and off in the distance he could see the lions eating under the shady trees.
Hi, kids. Where are your mom and dad?
Oh, they will be along directly.
Good, good. We've got to get along.
He squinted at the lions, with his hands up to his eyes. The lions were done eating, and they ambled to the watering hole. A shadow flickered overhead. The vultures dropped down from the blazing sky to finish what the lions left.
Which concludes my report to date. There were no lions, but Lydia and George had been devoured. Their personality, devoured by the mechanistic marvels which had usurped their role as parents. All 4 members of the family are under intensive therapy now and are doing as well as can be expected. Send that by teleradio transmission, Miss Carver, and would you ask Mr. Abbott to please step inside? I'm ready for him now.
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in collaboration with Street and Smith Publishers of astounding science fiction, tonight by transcription The Veldt by Ray Bradbury, adapted for radio by Ernest Kanoy and Isaac Paris. George Abbott, voiced by Jonathan Miller. Dr. David McLean, voiced by Nick Price. Lydia, voiced by Ariel Hicks. Wendy was voiced by Cora Paris Hanson. Narrated by myself, Andrew Laniohan.
Also in the cast, Eli May Salerno as Peter. My name is Isaac Paris. I did the directing and the sound and music. Thank you for listening.